The idea of pulling myself up from my bootstraps was laced in my coconut chutney. My mother emigrated from India, leaving everything she knew for the dream of a better life in the United States. A strong-willed single mom with the world in her eyes, she worked 2, sometimes 3 jobs just to make ends meet. My mother taught me that if I worked very hard, I could climb a ladder of opportunity and achieve my highest dream. So when I turned 19, I moved to New York City with the dream of making films. To this, my mother said, "Movies, schmovies, how will you eat?" And so I've never taken the profound privilege of making films for granted. And I feel inspired to use my voice as a filmmaker to cross boundaries and spark new conversations in the world. And somehow, the fact that I've been able to pursue something I've loved so much has reaffirmed my belief in this incredible dream. That no matter how much money your parents make, or your race, or gender, or orientation, that we should all have access, equal access, to a ladder of opportunity to be able to work hard and live a dignified life, to be able to give the next generation something better than we had. And yet, when I visited American cities like Richmond, California, I saw the dream of upward mobility eroding. Living in the shadow of an oil refinery, the legacy of 20th century industry has left Richmond with the highest rates of unemployment, asthma, and cancer in the country. And I saw firsthand how it was communities of color, working families, that really suffered disproportionately the health impacts of living on the front lines of the fossil fuel industry. My journey to make my documentary film, Catching the Sun, began because I was looking for hope. When I first met Eddie, a young man featured in my film, he was just 19. He thought that environmentalism was a thing of the privileged. He didn't see much hope or even entry-level work opportunities for the youth in his neighborhood. He spoke about the violence in his community with this profound resignation, as if each day he narrowly escaped being at the wrong place at the wrong time. But over the course of a Solar Jobs training program, I saw Eddie transform as he learned the hands-on skills to become a solar installer. I saw the light go on in his eyes as he made a radio play for the first time off of solar panels. I saw him beam with pride as he explained to his neighbor how much money she would save on her utility bill as a result of the work he had done. And I realized that for Eddie, it wasn't just about having a job, any job. It was about having a job with dignity, in which he meaningfully contributed to his community. Eddie's been working at the same job as a solar installer for the last 5 years. He dreams of being a designer, an engineer, and for the first time, he has a shot at life. He feels like he has a shot at life. And for me, as a filmmaker, watching Eddie fashion a solution to climate change with his own hands, I saw a glimmer of the hope I had been looking for, and in it, our shared hope for a sustainable future. Eddie gave me hope that clean energy can transform the lives of workers and entrepreneurs in small towns and big cities across the world. Already, here in the United States, 200,000 Americans like Eddie go to work in the solar industry every day. And that number is growing exponentially. In the making of Catching the Sun, I learned that there is a story missing from these gloom and doom scenarios of climate change. I learned that saving our environment doesn't always come at the cost of jobs and the economy. I learned that a just transition to clean energy is the largest economic opportunity of our time, with the potential to create millions of jobs in the clean tech industries of tomorrow. And this transition is already happening. California already runs on 25% renewables and is quickly moving the bar to run off 33% renewables by just 2020. And it's not just blue states, it's red states and blue states and smart states who are setting ambitious targets for renewable energy and implementing the policies that cultivate innovation and move us forward. So, with the federal government missing in action, we can take this fight to City Hall. We can jam the phone lines of our representatives in Congress, and we can have the boldness, the audacity to tell news stories of a clean energy future that is within our reach, knowing that our imagination is more than half the distance to get us there. Our survival depends on just this. We can unleash human imagination and the kind of invention and innovation necessary to create a sustainable future. We can keep the dream of leaving a better life for the next generation alive. We can leave the next generation clean air and clean water, and we can leave them a pathway of opportunity to achieve their dreams too. Thank you.